The overwhelming majority of new players in Heritage for the Future think that Hol-Horse is unbeatable. This is partly due to X-Falchion overhyping him, and also Hol-Horse inherently being a noob stomper. But then you go and look at the tier list, and you find out that he's surprisingly a low mid-tier. With combos that can kill you off one touch and are easy to perform, it stands to reason why many beginners write him off as being uncontestable and broken. But they all forget one thing, one simple core design weakness of Hol-Horse. He needs to knock you down first. If you're new to Heritage for the Future, there are different types of stand users. There are passive stand users, active stand users, and stand users and weapon stand users. Passive stand users are given an additional attack with the stand button, while weapon and active stand users can turn their stand on, which puts them into a different mode where their basic attacks are improved and they can't be knocked down. To put it simply, Hol-Horse can potentially trash passive stand users lower on the tier list, as you can knock them down, while weapon and especially active stand users crush Hol, as you can't knock them down when they turn stand on. New players either gravitate towards the passive stand users, as they're usually easier, or fail to utilize active stand users' stand on mode to crush Hol-Horse. And after noobs lose to this cowboy off one touch, they're given a false impression and think that Hol is better than he actually is. As Zareth would say, Hol-Horse capitalizes on your mistakes. As long as you don't make the mistakes he's looking for, he can't do much to make himself scary. A good bulk of Hol's damage comes from a knockdown, and from there he can do unblockable Okizemis and frame traps. Basically, after a knockdown, he can easily end the opponent. At lower levels of play, people make a lot of mistakes, which gives Hol-Horse a lot of leeway when it comes to getting damage. Most new players have a hard time dealing with Hol's frame traps and blame it on the character being broken, rather than their inexperience. Once you know about Hol's linear knockdowns, he starts to show weaknesses that you can exploit. This is how even passive stand users stand a chance against him. The main design issue with Hol-Horse is that stand-on opponents cannot be knocked down by any of Hol's normals, effectively shutting down any way he could get meaningful damage on the opponent. The only way for Hol to knock down a stand-on opponent would be landing 214X into 214AA. He doesn't have any moves that do a lot of damage to his stand gauge, meaning when an active stand loser turns stand on, they effectively stop Hol from getting anything, and they don't have to worry about stand crash, as Hol doesn't have any moves that threaten one. Currently, you're looking at a combo against an opponent's standoff. Tons of damage. He's broken, you might say. Well, look at what happens when the opponent turns stand on. If you want to beat Hol, you need to understand how to utilize stand-on, be mindful about his linear knockdowns, and know what to do during his frame traps. That is a key to finally ending the gunslinger. TLDR, the majority of Hol's damage comes from a knockdown. Turning stand on doesn't allow Hol-Horse to knock you down. Hol doesn't have any ways to stand crash you, so now he has no damage.